Chapter 1. Do you want to die? It was the afternoon before Halloween. A little girl was on her bike in Oak Street in Mayville. She went happily between the trees and the lovely gardens. But then her bike went onto a front lawn, and she stopped. There was a strange sound, and she looked up. The lawn was in front of a big old house. There were 2 windows over the front door. The windows looked down at her angrily. There was a loud shout, and an old man came out of the house. It was Mr. Nevercracker. "Get off my lawn," he shouted. "Do you want to die?" The little girl was frightened and she ran away. Mr. Nevercracker walked across the lawn and took the bike. "And don't come back. These children," he said, "they never listen." The sound came again. It was louder, and then it stopped. Mr. Nevercracker went into his house and closed the door. DJ Walters lived opposite Mr. Nevercracker's house. DJ saw everything and wrote about it in his book. There was a lot of writing in the book. Today he wrote, 30th October. N took bike. DJ, his mom called. "I'm coming." DJ looked at the pictures on the walls of his bedroom. They were photos of Mr. Nevercracker's house. "DJ," she called again. DJ ran out of his house. His mom and dad were in the car. "Mom," said DJ, "he took a bike again." "DJ," she said, "you can't stay in your room for hours to watch an old man." "But there's something wrong with that house." "We're going," said his dad. "Z is coming soon. She's staying with you tonight." "We love you," called his mom, and they drove away. Then a boy with a ball came across the street. It was Chowder, DJ's best friend. "It's Halloween soon," said Chowder. "What are you going to wear?" "I'm not going trick-or-treating this year," said DJ, "but we always do. We're too old now." Chowder tried to throw his ball into the basket on the wall. He turned and looked at DJ. "Be careful," shouted DJ. Chowder turned back, and the ball hit him. "Ah!" Chowder put his hand on his nose. "Are you okay?" asked DJ. Then he saw the ball. "Oh no, it was on Mr. Nevercracker's nice lawn." "You're older, DJ, you get it," said Chowder. "No," said DJ, "but it was expensive. Maybe Mr. Nevercracker is sleeping." DJ looked at the house. Okay. He put one foot on the lawn. The ball was close. He ran to it. Suddenly the door opened and Mr. Nevercracker came out. "You!" DJ moved quickly. His shoe pulled out a bit of the lawn. "I'm sorry," cried DJ. He wanted to run, but Mr. Nevercracker held his shirt. "Do you want to die?" shouted Mr. Nevercracker. "Number I love life." Mr. Nevercracker pulled DJ's shirt. "This is my house," he shouted. "Stay away." The old man's face was very red and his eyes went big. Suddenly he fell on top of DJ on the lawn. The old man didn't move. "Uh-oh," said Chowder. Then there was a cold wind and the door closed loudly. Chapter 2. Come in. Some people came and took Mr. Nevercracker away. "He's dead because of me," DJ said to Chowder. "I feel terrible." Just then, Z arrived in her car. She took her bag into DJ's house. "Hi," she smiled. "We're going to have a very good time." "Mom and Dad aren't here," said DJ. Z stopped smiling. "Okay," she said. "In the house at 9 o'clock. In your room at 11. No games." "I'm not a child." Z just looked at him angrily. Later, DJ was in his room. He looked at the house across the street. The house looked at him. He saw some smoke. It came out of the top of the house. Then there was a cold wind again, and he closed his window. DJ went to sleep. He had a bad dream about the house. The house came into his room. It was big and dark. Then the dark was a hand. It wanted to... Suddenly the phone woke him up. DJ looked at the number. He was frightened. The call was from Mr. Nebercracker's house. Who was it? Then someone was in his room. Boo! It was Bones, Z's boyfriend. Bones laughed at DJ. Z was there too. It isn't funny, shouted DJ. Mr. Nebercracker's dead and someone is in his house. Ooh, said Z and Bones. They didn't believe him. They laughed and left his room. DJ looked at the house. One of the windows opened, like an eye. DJ's heart went faster. The window closed again. DJ used his phone. Police, answered Chowder. The danger zone, said DJ. Now. Bones told Z the story of his beautiful red kite. He was 10, and he loved that kite more than anything. Bones looked happy, but then his face changed. One day the kite was high in the sky, but then it came down behind the houses. He found it on Mr. Nebercracker's lawn. The old man shouted at him and took the kite. He's a terrible old man, said Z. Yeah, said Bones, and he's strange. He talked to the house. People say his wife died in that house. Did he eat her? He laughed, but Z was angry. She said, Go home, Bones. Bones went out of DJ's house. He looked at Mr. Nebercracker's house. He threw a trainer onto the lawn. Nothing happened. Then he walked on the lawn. He waited. Nothing. He danced on the lawn. You are dead, he shouted. Look at me, I'm on your lawn. What are you going to do? Suddenly the door opened and Bones saw his lovely red kite. Bones followed it. The door closed, and there was a terrible sound. Then it was quiet again. The danger zone was DJ and Chowder's special place. There was a very big crane and a digger and a lot of holes. Mr. Nebercracker is back from the dead, said DJ. He wants to find me. I need your help, Chowder. The two boys left the danger zone, and soon they were in front of Mr. Nebercracker's house. They saw a trainer on the lawn. The house watched them. 2 windows opened slowly. Then nothing. This is boring, said Chowder, and he went onto the lawn. Don't, shouted DJ. Suddenly there was a terrible sound. The door opened and the windows moved. They looked down angrily. Then the floor opened like teeth in a mouth. There was a big red open throat. And then the carpet came out of the door like a tongue. The boys ran. Chapter 3. We don't believe you. The next morning a young girl came to the door. It was Jenny Bennett. You need some treats for tonight, she said. I'm selling chocolates. It's not my house, said Z. Okay, said Jenny. I'm sure the mom and dad left you some money for the trick-or-treaters. You give me $20 for some chocolates. I say you gave me $30. You keep $10 and you can have the chocolates too. Hey, you're good. Z gave Jenny the money. Z went to DJ's room. What are you doing? She asked. Something in that house tried to eat us, said DJ. We stayed up all night to watch. You're so strange, said Z. Do you know where Bones is? He left last night and didn't come back. Didn't come back? Said Chowder. Z, I'm sorry, but... The house took your boyfriend, said DJ. Z didn't believe them. She closed her eyes. Please, She threw some chocolates to DJ. "Breakfast," she said, and left the room. Chowder looked out of the window again. "Oh," he said. DJ looked. It was Jenny. The boys watched her. They liked her red hair. They also liked her little nose and big, clever eyes. Chowder looked at DJ. "I saw her first." "You can't say that," said DJ. "Oh, yes, I can." Jenny started to go to Mr. Nebbercracker's door with her chocolates. The boys ran out. "No," they shouted. Jenny looked at them. "Do you have a problem?" she asked. Suddenly the windows opened. They were red and angry. Then a terrible cry came from the house and the lawn moved up and down. The door opened and the kids saw the mouth and the teeth. The carpet tongue came out and lifted Jenny up and down. It took the chocolates, but the boys pulled Jenny back. "Hey, it was Z." The lawn in the house went quiet. The door closed. The eyes were windows again. "I'm going to find Bones." And she went off. "What's happening?" asked Jenny. The boys told Jenny about the house. "I'm very busy," said Jenny. "But that house took my chocolates and tried to eat me. I can give you 1 hour." They all looked at the house. It was quiet now. Then they saw a dog. It walked onto the lawn. The door opened and the tongue came out. It took the dog. It was very quick. "Call the police," said Jenny. Suddenly DJ remembered. "It's Halloween. Tonight there are going to be a lot of children at that door trick-or-treating. They're all going to die." Then the door opened, and there was Chowder's ball. Suddenly the ball changed. Now it was a Halloween monster face. "It's laughing at us," said Jenny. Then the police arrived. There were 2 policemen. Landers was fat and had a pink face. "Okay, what's happening?" Landers asked. The other policeman, Lister, was tall. He shouted at them. "All of you, next to the car, now." "He's new," said Landers. "There's something very bad in that house," Jenny told them. "Someone died," said DJ. "A dog died too," said Chowder. Landers smiled, but Lister shouted into the police radio, "Dead dog, dead dog. We have a problem here." Landers took the radio away from him. "Okay, you 3, it's Halloween. We're busy." DJ tried again. "Please believe us. The house has a mouth. It pulls things in and eats them." "See you later," said Landers. "Look." DJ walked onto the lawn. Nothing. He danced on the lawn. Nothing. "Okay," said Landers. "We're going. Leave this house now. I'm going to give you 10. 1, 2, 3. "But we need your help," cried Jenny. 4, 5, 6. The 3 kids looked at the policeman. They weren't going to help. DJ, Chowder, and Jenny walked away. "What can we do now?" asked Chowder. "I have an idea," said DJ. "Let's ask a very clever person." Chapter 4. Domus Mactabilis. The Pizza Freak was a cheap restaurant with a lot of computer games. A big man was playing one. His shirt and Pizza Freak hat were dirty. "This is Skull," said DJ importantly. "He knows everything." "Let's talk to him," said Jenny, and she walked over to Skull. He turned. His face was very white, and his eyes were red and tired. "What? I'm busy." DJ was quick. "There's a monster in Mr. Nebbercracker's house. It must die before it eats us." "Okay, man." Skull played his game. His hands moved very quickly. Sometimes a person loves his house very much. Then he dies. That dead person can live in the house. It's in the walls and the floor. It's called Domus Mactabilis. "That means monster house," said Jenny. I knew that, said Chowder. Can we stop it? Asked DJ. Find the heart of the house. The heart must die. So where's the heart? Asked Chowder. No one answered. Then DJ remembered. Smoke comes from the house. The heart of the house must be the fire. We must stop the fire. We don't have much time, said Jenny. We must find a way to get in. I've got an idea, said DJ. First, let's make something. It must be like a person. We put Sleep Easy drink in it. The house eats the person and goes to sleep. Then we go in and find the fire. That's a very stupid plan, said Chowder. I don't want to go into a monster. Jenny looked at DJ. It's good. Let's do it. Okay, said Chowder quickly. Let's do it. DJ found an old carpet cleaner, and Jenny put some clothes on it. It was like a Halloween monster. They put some Sleep Easy drink into the cleaner. They were ready. It was evening. The tops of the houses were red in the sun. Trick or treat. Chowder called to the house. The windows opened and looked at the carpet cleaner. There was hate in the eyes. Start the cleaner, said DJ quietly. The carpet cleaner started to move. It went to the front door. The door opened, and there were the teeth. Ready. Waiting. DJ, Chowder, and Jenny smiled. Suddenly, they heard the sound of a police car. The house's eyes and mouth closed, and the carpet cleaner stopped in front of the door. Landers saw the carpet cleaner. What's this? He looked at it and found the Sleep Easy drink. Okay, you're going to the police station. Lister shouted, Right! In the car. Listen to us, shouted DJ. The house is a monster. The policeman put the 3 kids into the car. And don't try to open the doors because you can't, said Lister. Suddenly, a terrible sound came from the house. What's that? Lister walked to the door. Landers followed him. No, get away from the house, shouted DJ. He and Jenny tried to open the car doors. He's right, said Jenny. We can't get out. Chapter 5. Constance the giantess Lister ran onto the lawn. It moved. A tree near him started to move too. He tried to run, but the tree pulled him back. Suddenly he was high in the sky. Help, he called. Landers tried to run to the car, but the carpet tongue came through the door and pulled him in. Then the tree threw Lister into the house after him. The kids didn't want to look. The tree took the car and held it high over the lawn. The front door mouth was bigger now. I'm only here because of you, DJ, shouted Chowder. No, you're not. You're here because of her, cried DJ. The car was closer to the mouth. Be quiet, said Jenny. We've got a big problem. The tree threw the car into the house. The teeth closed on the front of the car. The 3 kids looked down the red throat. There were teeth all the way down. Quick, move, shouted DJ. The back window of the car was open. They went through it. Then the door of the house closed, and the car went down the throat. Everything went quiet. The carpet sat quietly on the stairs. The walls and the floors were in the right places. It doesn't know we're here, said DJ quietly. Now we must find the fire and put water on it. I don't think that's a good idea, said Chowder. Do you want to die? Asked DJ. Okay, let's look for the heart, Chowder said. Be careful, said DJ, and stay together. Suddenly DJ fell through the floor. There was a loud breaking sound, and Jenny and Chowder fell through after him into the dark. They were in a big room. There were a lot of children's things there. Look at this, said DJ. It was an old circus caravan. The colors were now old and dark. It was in two parts. On one part of the caravan were some words. Constance the Giantess. The kids looked at it quietly. "This was beautiful a long time ago," said DJ. "Let's look in it." "Let's not," said Chowder. DJ went in. There were pictures on the walls. Then he saw something in the cement floor. It looked like a big body. Suddenly the floor moved. "The floor's breaking," shouted DJ. Then there was a strong wind. "It's Constance!" cried Jenny. "She's angry. She doesn't like people near her." Everything in the room started to move and break. The sounds were terrible. Constance knew they were there. The wind threw the three kids out of the room. "Run!" shouted DJ. Chowder was at the top of the stairs. The throat opened. Suddenly the stairs went down the throat. The throat pulled at Chowder, too. The house gave a terrible cry, but Chowder didn't fall. He held one of the teeth. DJ tried to pull him up. Then the carpet tongue came out quickly and threw DJ down the throat. "No!" cried Jenny. The house moved up and down. Then she saw something red at the back of the throat. She pulled on it hard. The house moved up and down again. "I can't hold," she shouted, and fell down the red throat. But there was someone close. It was DJ. Jenny held onto his legs. DJ held onto Chowder's legs. Then a strong wind and a lot of water came up the throat. It threw the three kids out of the open door. DJ ran into the street as a car stopped in front of the house. Chapter 6. Mr. Nebbercracker's Story. It was Mr. Nebbercracker. He was very white. "No!" cried Chowder. "You're dead! Go away!" "You go away!" said Mr. Nebbercracker angrily. "He's not dead," said DJ happily. "Of course I'm not dead. Is it Halloween today? Go away or you're going to die." Mr. Nebbercracker turned to the house. "I'm home, my love." The house started to cry. "Look at your windows and your walls," he said quietly. "But it isn't a problem. We can make it better. We're going to have a nice, quiet evening, like every year. No children, only us." "It's her," said DJ. "The house is her. Mr. Nebbercracker, I know about Constance. I saw her." There was a surprised sound from the house. "Were you in my house?" cried Mr. Nebbercracker. "I know she died," said DJ. "I loved her," said Mr. Nebbercracker sadly. He told them Constance's story. The kids saw the pictures in their heads. They were in Constance's caravan at the circus. There was happy music and circus sounds. People looked at Constance the Giantess in her caravan. They laughed and threw things at her. She was sad and alone. She looked at the floor and tried to forget the people. One day a boy threw old vegetables at her. Constance was very angry and she shouted at the boy. A young man came and held the boy's arm. It was Mr. Nebbercracker. That night he went to Constance's caravan and they talked. He thought she was beautiful. Mr. Nebbercracker took Constance's caravan away from the circus. They found a place to build a home. Mr. Nebbercracker started to build a lovely house and made a big hole for the cement. The cement was almost ready. He decided to break Constance's caravan. Then something terrible happened. He heard a loud cry. It was Halloween, and some young children came to trick-or-treat. When they saw Constance, they started to throw things at her. "Go away!" shouted Mr. Nebbercracker. Some of the things hit Constance. The children just laughed. "It's always going to be like this," cried Constance. She shouted at the children. She tried to run, but she fell into the big hole and the cement fell on top of her. There was a terrible cry, and Constance the giantess died. "So, I finished the house," Mr. Nebbercracker said to DJ. "She died, but she didn't leave. She hates children, and she's often angry at them. I try to stop her. At Halloween, it's very hard." The house started to make loud sounds. "I'm coming, my love," said Mr. Nebbercracker, "and you children must go." But DJ held his arm. "No, Mr. Nebbercracker, you have your life. It's time to leave Constance." "She's all I have," said Mr. Nebbercracker sadly. "No," said DJ. "You have me too. I'm your friend." He took Mr. Nebbercracker's hand, and they walked away. Mr. Nebbercracker was happy, but the house wasn't. It was very, very angry. Suddenly, there was a terrible sound. DJ and Mr. Nebbercracker looked back. The house was moving again. Chapter 7. "Goodbye, Constance." Mr. Nebbercracker and the 3 kids ran to the danger zone. The house was behind them. It was angry, it was strong, and it was close. Mr. Nebbercracker threw hard bits of cement at the house. "Stay away from them!" he shouted. Constance saw Mr. Nebbercracker and stopped. She was quiet. "You were a bad girl," said Mr. Nebbercracker. "I must do this." He carefully took some dynamite from his bag. Constance saw it and gave an angry cry. Suddenly there were lights and a loud sound. It was the big digger, and Chowder was the driver. "How did you learn to drive this?" Jenny asked Chowder. "I didn't," answered Chowder. DJ ran to Mr. Nebbercracker. He gave DJ the dynamite. "Take this," he said. "I started it. You finish it. The dynamite's ready. You have 3 minutes and 18 seconds. DJ looked at the house. "Where do I throw it?" he thought. Then he saw the smoke and remembered the fire, the heart. The digger and the house were now face to face. Then DJ saw the tall crane high over the danger zone. "Chowder!" he shouted. "Try to move the house under the crane." Suddenly the digger turned and moved to the crane. The house tried to turn, but it fell. There was a loud sound. The house started to break. There were parts of the house all over the danger zone. DJ and Jenny went up in the crane. But where was Chowder? Then they heard him. "Hey!" shouted Chowder. "I did it! Me! The house is dead!" But it wasn't dead. All the parts of the house came back together again to make a new house. This time it was a worse monster than before. It looked terrible. Chowder drove the digger quickly to the crane. The new monster house followed. The door opened, and the mouth closed on the arm of the digger. It took the digger up high. Chowder fell out, and then the tongue took the digger. Chowder ran. The house followed. DJ looked down the arm of the crane. He was frightened. "I can't do it," he said. "You can," said Jenny, and she smiled at him. "Yes," he thought, "I can." He moved to the end of the arm. DJ looked down. There was the house. There was the smoke. DJ threw the dynamite into the smoke, into the heart of the house. Everything was very quiet. The house didn't move. It didn't look like a monster house now. It looked clean and quiet like before. The kids waited. Was it over? Did DJ throw the dynamite in the right place? Little sounds started to come from the house. Then they were bigger and louder. Suddenly there was a great white light, and the house was a ball of fire. Cement, windows, walls, and floor rained down from the sky. The kids shouted and danced. "We did it! The house is dead!" Then something happened. A strong wind came and moved all the parts of the house. They all came together in the sky. It was Constance, big and beautiful again. "Constance," said DJ quietly. Mr. Nebbercracker looked up. "My love, goodbye," he cried. Constance smiled. She put her arms around Mr. Nebbercracker. Then the wind came again, and there was only the sky. "I'm sorry about your house, wife," said DJ. "Constance is happy now," said Mr. Nebbercracker. There was a light in his eyes. "And I can live my life, thank you." It was Halloween night. There were trick-or-treaters on Mr. Nebbercracker's lawn. They came to get their things. There were bikes, basketballs, footballs, and kites. DJ gave the bike back to the little girl. "Thank you," she said and smiled. Then she went between the trees and the lovely gardens of Oak Street. Jenny put her arms around the boys. "We must do something together again soon," she said. Then she left with her mom. "We are too old for treat-or-treating," said Chowder. "Yes," said DJ. "But we had a very difficult evening." "Yes," said DJ. "Time for treats?" "Yeah, time for treats." And the boys ran down the road. Some people came out of the big hole in Mr. Nebbercracker's garden. Bones was first. He looked very surprised. Then the two policemen came out. Bones looked at them. "Happy Halloween," he said and smiled. He held his red kite in his hands. "You too," said Landers. "Happy Halloween." Lesson 7. How to Handle Mistakes. On Tuesday, I go to school again. One student asks our teacher an interesting question. She says, "I would like to practice speaking with people around me, but I am afraid of making mistakes. I don't want to look stupid. Can you help me?" Our teacher says, "Making mistakes is a very interesting topic. There are a lot of opinions on it. I want to show you what I believe is the best approach. I have a lot of experience with this because I also learnt new languages. I still continue doing it. For example, now I am learning Spanish. When I speak Spanish, I don't care if I make mistakes or not. The reason why I don't care about mistakes is simple. When I learnt my native language, I didn't care about making mistakes either. So why should I care now? My main goal when I use any language is to express my ideas. That is all. I know that when I read a lot, speak and do shadowing, my Spanish will be better and better. I know that this can sound incredibly simple, but it is my opinion. This is what I have found after many years of both teaching and learning languages. It works very well for me and many of my students. When I speak, I only concentrate on speaking. At the moment, I know 1,500 words in Spanish. It is the level of a 2-year-old child. 2-year-old children make a lot of mistakes when they speak, but they don't care about their mistakes. They continue using their native language, and when they are 3 years old, they make very few mistakes, and when they are 4 years old, they already speak very well with hardly making any mistakes. You should have the same attitude. Now, most of you know about 2,000 words, so it is absolutely okay to make mistakes time to time. When you continue using English, there will be fewer and fewer mistakes in your speaking. It is not possible to get better without making mistakes. When you practice English, it is okay not to be perfect. Perfection comes with practice. Anybody who started to learn English started from the beginning, from the same level, which is level 0. Learning languages is like learning to play a musical instrument. It needs to be trained. When you start your training, it is not perfect at first, and you make mistakes. It is normal. Take it as a necessary part of your learning process. If you didn't go through this period of making mistakes, you could not get to higher levels. By continuing to do what you want to learn, the mistakes are gradually being eliminated. If you want to make fewer and fewer mistakes, do a lot of reading and shadowing. When you read, you can read aloud. It can also help you make fewer mistakes. In real conversations, care only about exchanging ideas. Don't care about making mistakes. When you speak, you practice changing your thoughts into words. You don't learn grammar or words. You have other activities for that. Don't worry. Everybody who learns a foreign language makes mistakes from time to time. Even famous people, bosses of big companies or politicians. When you listen to these people on TV, you see that they don't care about mistakes. They care about what is important, and that is expressing their ideas. You should do the same. Does it make sense? The girl says, "Yes, thank you." If you don't want to make mistakes, do a lot of reading and shadowing. Lesson 8. How to remember words. On Wednesday, I go to school again. At the beginning of the lesson, one student says, "I started to read more. I feel that it is good for me. I can see how my grammar is better, but I have a problem. When I read, I look up a new word in a dictionary. Then I continue reading. Sometimes when I see the same word again only 10 minutes later, I don't remember the word and I have to look it up again. Can you help me to remember the words better?" Our teacher says that it is an interesting question, and she gives this explanation. It is absolutely normal that you don't remember the new word immediately. Usually, you will have to look up the word 5 times before you remember it. There will be also words that you will have to look up 10 or 15 times. These words are usually verbs. When we learn a new word, the word goes through phases. Only when you achieve the last phase, you remember the word very well. There are 5 of these phases. Let's have a look at them. The first phase is the moment when you see the word for the first time, and you don't know the word. You look it up in the dictionary. The second phase is the moment when you see the word that you have already looked up in the dictionary, or heard, or saw it in the past. You know that you saw this word before, but you still don't remember its meaning. You look up the word again. The third phase is the moment when you see the word again, and you feel what it could mean, but you are not sure. For example, you know that the word is some kind of object or some animal or a verb. The fourth phase is the moment when you already know what the word means when you see it, but you are not able to recall the word when you want to say it. When this phase happens, the word is in your passive vocabulary. The fifth phase is the moment when you are able to use the word when you speak. Now you can see there are 5 phases altogether. Do you understand now why it is not possible to remember a new word when you see it for the first time? You would have to jump across all the phases with the first encounter with the word. You have to see or hear every word several times and let it go through all the phases until you get to phase number 5. You can be happy not only when you learn a new word perfectly, but also when you get from one phase to the other. When it happens, you are closer to the final goal, and it is to use the word without problems in everyday communication. All of this is interesting to me. I didn't know about these phases, but it is all logical. It also happened to me that I looked up a new word in the dictionary, but 2 minutes later, I didn't know what the word was, and I had to look it up again. I felt stupid that I didn't remember the word. Now I know that it is absolutely okay not to remember the word forever when I see it for the first time. I need several encounters with the word before I can use the word well. After school, I go to my football training. Our coach tells us that there will be a match on Saturday. The school team will play against another school team from Cambridge. Our coach tells me to come and play for the school team. I am very happy, and I am looking forward to the Saturday match. When you want to remember a new word, you need to see or hear the word about 10 times. Lesson 9. How to improve listening. The next day, I go to school again. One of the students has an important question. He wants to know how to improve his listening skills. He wants to know what the best approach is. Our teacher says, "Thank you for your question. Good listening skills are very important for communication. If you don't understand what people are saying, it will be difficult for you to speak with them. There are a lot of materials on the internet for students of English. Some students can have a problem with finding the right listening materials for them. Let's have a look at what you should listen to. There are 2 types of materials which you can listen to. You can listen to some audio, or you can watch a film. These are quite different materials and different rules apply to them. When you listen to some audio, you should know 95% of the words or more. If the audio has a lot of new words, read the text first if possible, and make sure you know all the words. When you practice listening, you practice getting information from a spoken language. You don't try to learn new words. Of course, sometimes you can learn new words, but it is not the main goal. When you listen, concentrate on getting information from spoken English. It is important to use materials at your level of English. For example, you can use books in simplified English which contain an audio recording. I really recommend these books to you. They are fantastic because you can choose a book at your level of English. When you have such a book, read the book first and then listen to the recording at home or when you travel. You can read 2 great books at www.robinsoncrusoeinlevels.com or www.thelittleprinceinlevels.com. You can also visit www.newsinlevels.com if you like listening to the news. All these materials are in 3 levels of English. The second type of materials for listening practice are films and videos on www.youtube.com. These are also great. You can start using them when you know 2,000 words in English or more. This is what you should do with a film. Watch it for the first time with subtitles so that you know what the film is about. Then watch the film without subtitles. If you like the film very much, you can watch it more than once. When you watch one film many times, with every view, you will understand more. It is also good to watch videos on the internet about interesting subjects. For example, if you like nature, you can watch documentaries about nature. You can also watch reality shows. Reality shows are much easier to understand than films or documentaries because the structure of the show is usually the same. It is necessary to have at least 30 minutes a day of listening. The more you listen, the faster you will understand more words. When listening, you should always look at what you already understand, even if it is just 10% at the beginning. It is very easy to demotivate yourself by realizing all of the parts that you don't understand yet. Look at what you already know. Be happy for every new sentence you have understood. Listening is the easiest way to learn. You don't have to do anything. You just listen. Did this information help you? Yes, says the student. Thank you. The listening topic is very interesting for me. Now, I know what to do to improve my listening. When you want to be good at listening, listen for 30 minutes every day. Lesson 10. What you need before you start. On Friday, we have an interesting conversation in our class. Our teacher has a question for us. She asks, "What was your first reason to learn English?" Do you remember the moment when you started to learn English? When did you start to be really interested in the language? I say that I remember the moment when I started to be interested in English. My teacher says, "Can you tell us what happened?" I say, "Yes." First, I have to say that English wasn't always my favorite subject. I started to learn English at high school. At the beginning, it was very difficult for me. I didn't understand the structure of the language. It was illogical to me. I tried to remember words. I tried to learn grammar, but it was very hard. When I finished high school, I was still only a beginner. I couldn't speak English, and I believed that I would never learn this language properly. I simply believed that English wasn't for me. Then something happened. I always liked music, and when I was 20, I started to listen to the Beatles. I wanted to understand what they were singing, so I started to translate their songs. Slowly, I understood more and more. Then I met two ladies from England on a train. We had a simple conversation, but it helped me very much. I started to believe that I could learn English. From that moment on, I was working on my English almost every day, and I was getting better and better. Then I decided to go to England and improve English here. My teacher thanks me for sharing my story. She also tells me, "Here is something very interesting about your story. You are still you. The first, you didn't have motivation to learn English. The second, you had a motivation. You wanted to understand songs. You can see that motivation is very important. When you have it, you can succeed. When you don't have it, it is very hard to be successful." Then our teacher asks everybody in the class about their motivation to learn English. The stories are very interesting. One girl's motivation is to be able to read historical books in original English. One student wants to be a professional tennis coach in England. He wants to speak perfect English before he starts his career as a coach. One woman wants to work for a big international company, and she needs English for her job. I can see that everybody has some kind of motivation to use English in real life, or to get information from books. At the end of the lesson, our teacher asks us if we like English. I say, "I didn't like English at my high school, but now I like it a lot. I can see how useful it is to know this language." Our teacher says, "This is another important factor when you learn a new language. It is good when you like something which is connected to English. It can be people, music, culture, or history. If you like English, it is easier for you to learn it. If you want to be able to communicate in English, it is good to know 3,000 words or more. If you don't like English, It is more difficult to find time to practice enough to get to the level of 3,000 words. I can agree with my teacher. Now I like not only the Beatles, but also my teacher and my boss, who is also English. I also like English humor. Now it is much easier for me to find time to practice English every day. On Saturday, I go to play football for my school team. We have some very good players on our team, and we win 3-2. We are all very happy. We go to the pub after the match, and we celebrate our victory. When you want to learn English, you need to have motivation to use English every day. Lesson 11. How to learn 3,000 words. During the next lesson, one of the students asks our teacher this question. You told us that it is good to know 3,000 words. Where can I find these 3,000 words that are the most important for me to learn? My teacher replies, you can Google a list of the 3,000 most frequent words in English, but such a list will not help you much. When you start to learn words from this list, you will learn words outside the context. You will learn the words that are not connected with any story. You will not learn what other words are connected with these words in sentences. You will learn them in your short-term memory. This system works only for some words. These are basic words which describe things and people around us. For example, mother, father, apple, blue, orange, dog, cat, book, car, house, city, boy, girl, water, cinema, or paper. These are words which represent something that you can imagine easily. For example, when you learn the word dog, you know immediately what it is. You have a clear idea in your head what the word means. Yet when you want to learn words such as appreciate or suppose, this system doesn't work well. This is a problem many students experience. They start their studying by using lists of words. It works at the beginning, and they believe that they can learn English this way. They don't know that when they achieve the level of 1,000 words, they have to start using a different system. If you want to learn words from a higher level, you have to learn them from whole sentences. If you understand the meaning of a word in the context of a sentence, you will learn the word much better. You can learn words from lists, but there is usually a limit where you can go with this way of learning, and it is 1,000 words. Also, way of learning is very slow. There are much better ways which we have already spoken about, such as reading. For beginners, the best book to read is Robinson Crusoe in Simple English. You can find this book at www.robinsoncrusoeinlevels.com. It is the best book I know of for learning new words for beginners. There is also one interesting rule that applies here. Every word that is important for you will come back to your life again and again until you learn the word. This is very similar to the way we learn your own language. When we are children, we don't study from lists of words. We just use the language, and important words keep coming into our lives again and again until one day we know what the words mean. We keep learning new words this way all our lives. For example, the verb Google is a new word in many languages. We learned this word by using the language. We didn't learn this word from any list of words. When you heard the word Google for the first time, you probably didn't know what the word meant. Then you heard it again and again as the word was important for you, and after some time you understood the word. You can forget about lists of words. Learn new words by reading stories and other interesting texts. When you use English a lot every day, you will learn new words more effectively than from lists of words. Does it make sense? Yes, says the student. Thank you. After school, I go to my work. I already understand how to do my work very well. Things start to be automatic. I am happy that I understand my customers. It is not very difficult because the conversations are usually very similar. Our customers want some coffee or sandwiches, so the words are usually the same or very similar. My confidence goes higher, and sometimes I start to have longer conversations with our customers. Everything is good, but then something happens. It is a little bit shocking for me. When you learn a new word, learn it as part of the whole sentence. Lesson 12. How to improve your accent. On Tuesday, when I am at my work, something interesting happens. 2 customers come to our cafe. They are a husband and a wife. The man starts to speak to me. I know that he speaks English, but I don't understand him. I don't understand what he wants. I think that he wants something we don't have, so I call my boss. She speaks with the man, and she sells him 2 coffees and 2 of our regular sandwiches. I am surprised. When they leave, I go to my boss, and I tell her that I am sorry I didn't understand the man. She says that it is okay. She says that this can happen when people speak with an accent that is new to us. She tells me that the pair was from Scotland. The next day, I go to school, and I tell this story to my teacher. I tell her that I felt really stupid that I didn't understand our customer. I wasn't sure if my English was good enough for my job. I started to doubt myself. My boss was okay with it, but I still needed some help from my teacher. I wanted to know what I could do in these situations. My teacher says, I understand. You are used to English that people speak in London, but you aren't used to the Scottish accent. Your ears aren't used to listening to the Scottish accent. All you have to do is to listen more to Scottish English. You need to train your ears to this accent as well. What happened to you can happen to everybody. When you already speak English at some level and you go to a country where people speak with a different accent, you shouldn't be surprised if you don't understand. It is okay, and it usually takes 2 weeks to get used to this new accent. You shouldn't think that there is something wrong with you when you don't understand a new accent. With practice, you can train your ears to any accent. Then I ask, so what can I do to understand the Scottish accent? I don't live in Scotland. Our teacher says, you can watch films with Scottish English, or you can watch situation comedies from Scotland, and soon you can understand. I tell her, thank you. After school, I go to my work again. At about 4 o'clock, 2 interesting customers come to our cafe. This time, they are not from Scotland. They are foreigners. They want to buy some coffee. They are 2 ladies, and it is clear that their English is very basic. My boss is serving them. When she hears that they don't speak English very well, she does something very interesting. She changes her English. She uses very simple sentences with only 3 or 4 words. I can see that the ladies understand her. They buy 2 coffees, 2 sandwiches, and 2 cakes. They are happy, and my boss is happy too. When the ladies leave, I tell my boss that it was very nice how she changed her English so that the 2 ladies would understand her. My boss says that sometimes she has to speak in a very simple English. It doesn't matter if the customers speak English well or not. They are our customers, and we have to do everything possible to make them feel comfortable. If they see that they can speak English here, they can come to our cafe every day. I think that our boss is a good businesswoman. She does everything possible to make our customers happy. It is true that we have a lot of customers. Our cafe is busy every day. When you want to understand people with a special accent, listen to audio with their accent for some time.